Imagine spending tens of thousands of dollars on a custom pool enclosure, only to receive a legal order to tear it down before you ever use it. Or worse, watching it fold like paper during a storm. This is a real threat in the Florida market. Entire residential yards are frequently left covered in shattered aluminum and torn mesh after a hurricane. Why do two seemingly identical, expensive pool cages experience such different outcomes? Why does one survive a Category 4 hurricane, while another is legally condemned before a storm even forms? The difference relies entirely on invisible engineering choices and unseen legal boundaries. Every enclosure is trapped between two opposing pressures: the brutal forces of nature pushing from the outside and rigid legal statutes constraining it from the inside. To protect a massive financial investment like this, you have to successfully navigate a hidden matrix of exactly 5 rules. These structural systems must be engineered to withstand constant, simultaneous pressure from both the physical environment and the legal landscape. Florida's flat landscape and exceptionally high water table leave minimal natural capacity for soil absorption. Because of this, municipal building departments heavily regulate stormwater management. Your legal building footprint ends exactly where the state's unbuildable zones begin. Local water management uses rigid utility and drainage easements to maintain emergency flood storage. There is a zero-tolerance policy for crossing these boundaries. Pouring concrete inside an easement permanently blocks emergency water flow. Municipalities mandate a strict buffer zone. You must maintain 5 feet of clearance between your pool structure and any recorded easement line. If you alter the natural ground elevation to squeeze an enclosure in and artificially redirect stormwater runoff onto a neighboring lot, you assume total legal and financial liability under the reasonable use doctrine. Encroaching on this subterranean boundary stops the project entirely. Planners will issue an automatic permit denial before a single piece of aluminum is ever ordered. Above ground, Florida Statute 720.3035 grants homeowners associations sweeping authority to enforce aesthetic homogeneity. They dictate your roof geometry, the frame color, and even the mesh material. But property owners now have a legal shield. House Bill 1203 establishes strict statutory boundaries against arbitrary HOA overreach and fines. If an HOA alleges a covenant violation, they can no longer issue arbitrary penalties. They are legally bound to a strict 90-day hearing limit, and they must provide written findings within 7 days of that hearing. Crucially, this bill introduces a cure protection. If you fix an architectural violation before the scheduled hearing, the HOA is statutorily banned from issuing a fine. The law also mandates financial transparency. If a homeowner requests a detailed accounting of amounts owed, the HOA has exactly 15 business days to reply, or they risk waiving those outstanding fines entirely. Understanding these exact legal timelines ensures your project remains protected from costly and prolonged architectural disputes. While the HOA dictates which roof shape fits the neighborhood aesthetic, that exact shape must simultaneously survive the wind load physics of the Florida building code. Homeowners typically choose between mansard, gable, dome, and hip designs to match their primary residence. A mansard roof catches straight-line winds like a sail. Steep gable, dome, and hip roofs perform far better aerodynamically, deflecting wind pressure up and over the structure. This diagram shows the main wind force resisting system loads an enclosure must survive in a Category 4 storm. Facing a 150 mile/hour wind vector, the structure absorbs 43 pounds per square foot of horizontal pressure, while solid components face 45 pounds of vertical uplift. To prevent the aluminum from buckling under these immense pressures, engineers install heavy-duty structural K-braces inside the screen walls. These diagonal framing members provide the highest level of structural stabilization available. Under load, they reduce structural stress by 46% and eliminate 90% of lateral drift. Reconciling the HOA's aesthetic demands with the brutal mathematics of wind physics is the central engineering challenge of the entire build. The structural integrity also depends on hidden metallurgical choices. Specifying the wrong aluminum alloy guarantees metal fatigue over time. Many builders use 6063 T6 aluminum because it bends easily to create decorative architectural shapes. But Florida engineering codes require the heavier 6005 T5 structural alloy for load-bearing frames. This chart shows the quantitative difference in mechanical properties. The 6005 T5 alloy achieves a superior yield strength of up to 270 megapascals and a shear strength of 170 megapascals, completely outperforming the weaker architectural alloy. The chemical composition of the paint matters just as much as the metal. Standard AAMA 2603 baked enamel finishes while chalk, pit, and fade within a year under Florida's intense UV radiation. To survive this environment, the extrusions must be treated with an AAMA 2605 fluoropolymer finish. This highly engineered coating undergoes accelerated weathering tests to guarantee a decade of gloss and color retention. Selecting 6005 T5 metal paired with an AAMA 2605 coating stops a cage from snapping in a storm and prevents the HOA from issuing a fading violation 3 years later. The most precisely engineered aluminum frame is useless if the load path fails at the concrete. The foundation is the final and highest stakes checkpoint. To resist massive uplift forces, the Florida Building Code establishes strict parameters, including a mandatory 16 by 12-inch continuously reinforced ribbon footing. The primary threat at this junction is galvanic corrosion. This is a silent chemical electrolysis that destroys the enclosure's uplift resistance from the inside out. When a steel screw is driven into an aluminum track, dielectric dissimilarity sparks a reaction that eats away the fastener's threads. To halt this reaction, engineers replace standard screws with nylon-sleeved stainless steel anchors, physically separating the metals. Before any of this construction can officially begin, there is one ultimate legal gateway. Under Florida Statute 713.13, you must file a certified notice of commencement to trigger state lien laws and municipal inspections. Following the 2023 update in House Bill 331, any project exceeding $5,000 legally requires the homeowner to record this notice prior to the very first inspection. Attempting an unpermitted build by bypassing this document guarantees you skip the municipal wind load engineering review, leaving your property completely vulnerable to the next hurricane. Achieving peace of mind means navigating this exact legal and engineering gauntlet correctly the very first time without compromise. When the drainage easements, HOA statutes, wind physics, metallurgy, and foundation mechanics all align, the result is a structure capable of maintaining its integrity through repeated storm cycles for decades. Screen Factory Florida is a dedicated engineering partner that builds exclusively with isolated anchor technology, creating a monolithic bond to your concrete. They shield you from the paperwork by utilizing an in-house permitting department that handles both the grueling HOA architectural submissions and the notice of commencement filings. They deliver precision and trust, offering free on-site measurements, custom 3D designs, a 365-day warranty, and a 4.8-star Better Business Bureau accreditation. This is the lifestyle result of trusting the right experts with your outdoor living space. You get a relaxing, protected environment designed to last. The proof of their quality is in the field. When Hurricane Milton hit, countless competitors' enclosures failed, while Screen Factory Florida structures stood strong. Protect your investment and your property. Schedule a free consultation and measurement today using the link and phone number in the video description.